Okay, guys, so it's your host, Kaya,
Riley,
and Andrew.
and we are here from the Anti-Stalker Podcast organization. And today we are going to be talking about albinism.
Okay, Andrew, so let's tell our viewers a little bit about albinism.
Albinism is an inherited condition where the body doesn't produce the natural melanin needed. This happens when TYR1 and OCA1 through OCA4 is affected, which controls the severity of albinism. People with OCA1 or type 1 have very white hair and very pale skin and light color irises. Type 2 or OCA2 is usually creamy white skin with light color hair that can be blonde or light brown. Type 3 or OCA3, also called Repharis oclaneus albinism, which usually affects dark-skinned people and have reddish brown skin and ginger or red hair and hazel or brown irises. This is often a milder form of albinism, and type 4 or OCA4 had signs and similarities to those in type 2, and this is because most features overlap and are similar.
Okay, so Riley, why don't you tell us about the gene codes that directly affect albinism when a mutation happens?
Okay, so there are multiple types of gene codes, specifically starting with the TYR gene code, and this mutation causes a form of oculotenuous albinism, which is OCA1 or type 1A albinism. Another type can be TYRP1 or a TYRP1 gene code that causes type 3 albinisms mutations, and these are responsible for that certain type of albinism. OCA2 mutations are responsible for type 2 albinism, which is also explained above. And lastly, SLC45A2. This causes type 4 albinism, which is also explained above. Okay, so now Kaya is going to tell a little bit about the phenotypic traits.
Okay, so for the first type of albinism, which is OCA1, the skin color that these individuals would have is white or pale, and for the hair color would also be white. And then for the eye color, it would be just a light color iris, and then anybody with pigment can be affected. And the genes that are affected through this type would be TYR, OCA2, and TYRP1I. And for the second type of albinism, we have OCA2, which those individuals would have a skin color that's creamy white. Their hair color would be very light with light-colored eyes. And again, it affects anybody with pigment. And then the gene affected is OCA2. And then for a third type, OCA3, the skin color would be a reddish brown, and the hair color would be ginger with hazel/brown eye colors. And again, anybody with pigment. And then this gene that's affected would be TYRP1. And for our last one, OCA4, the skin color would be creamy white again, with light yellow hair, light irises, and then anybody with pigment. And for the gene affected, it would be SLC45A2.
What are the effects of albinism? Albinism causes a lack of melanin in your skin, which protects you from the sun. So people with albinism have a higher risk of getting sun damage and skin cancer. If not properly wearing UV protection like sunscreen, this skin condition, while unique, can be very hard to handle and accommodate to the daily life, and it can be challenging.
Okay, so Riley, how do you become an individual with this unique mutation?
Okay, so to have albinism, it must be inherited from your parents. In all types of OCA and some types of OC, albinism is an autosomal recessive inheritance pattern. In simpler terms, that means that a child has to inherit both copies of the gene, one from each parent, for albinism to show on them. So here we have the image of a Punnett square that shows albinism, and as you can see, only one of the children will have albinism, and that is the child with the two little a's. And this is because only one of the children will get both recessive genes to show the trait, and all the other children are either homozygous dominant or heterozygous. Okay, so Kaya, can you tell us a little bit about the mutations that can affect albinism?
Okay, so there are different types of mutations, and one of the first ones that we will cover is the addition or insertion. which is when a nucleotide is added to a DNA sequence to frame shift down. Our second one is deletion, which is where a nucleotide is missing or deleted from the rest of the frame shift. Substitution is a nucleotide is replaced with another. So an example is A is switched to T, the letters, and then frame shift is when a nucleotide is added or deleted and the remaining sequence is changed. And then a silent mutation is where a nucleotide is replaced but doesn't change the resulting amino acid.
Here's the pedigree tree, and when analyzing the family generations, you can see the descent and many who have inherited albinism in these charts. And the squares are male and the circles are female. And then the shaded shapes mean individuals with albinism, while white shapes are normal. So you can see that both have like a male or a female who has albinism, and it'll like only inherit to half or 1/4.
Okay, Riley, so why should any of our viewers or why should any of us care about this?
Okay, so albinism is a big deal because millions of people with this condition struggle day to day around the world from being different to most other people. So they struggle and have many challenges that a normal person would not face, and many people can also not get help when these challenges occur, as albinism just isn't in the US, around the world. And there are like organizations that can help you cope with this if you're having struggles.
Okay, so we have formed a 5-minute quiz for the viewers to take to make sure everything that we just went over is fully processed and understood.
Okay, so the first question we have is, what is the ratio of people who have albinism to people who don't? So I'm just going to give you guys a second to answer. Okay, so the answer is C. 1 in 20,000 people have albinism to the people who don't have albinism.
Okay. For our next question, what skin color are people who have albinism? A, University of Pennsylvania red, B, black, C, white, or D, green. And I'll give you a second to answer. Okay, so the answer is white. So yeah.
And then, what color eyes do albino people have? Caput mortem, which is A, B, blue, C, hazel, or D, most people with albinism have light blue eyes, which is expressed from their creamy white skin, which is only OCA2, remember that. And then this can also vary between hazel or brown eyes. And we'll give you guys about 6 seconds to figure that out. It is. Most people with its answer D is correct.
Let's hope you got that one right. Okay, so Riley.
Okay, so our next question is, who are the people that can have albinism? A, no one, B, aliens, C, anyone, or D, what is albinism? So just think about that for a second. Okay, so the answer is C, anyone, and this one is pretty self-explanatory. Hopefully you guys got that one.
Okay, so the next question is, what are some problems that come with albinism? And A, there are no risks. B, bullying at school. C, risk of cancer and problems with vision in the sun. Or D, all of the above.
Okay, so the answer to this one is C, risk of cancer and problems with vision in the sun.
And for our next question, which skin color is OCA2 gene mutations in albinism? I said this before, so you guys should know this one. Water chestnut, pale smoke, creamy white, or garage mix. Those are all in order from A, B, C, D. I'm going to give you guys a minute to figure that one out.
We also thank our host for giving you guys really difficult colors, but try your best.
They're difficult. Do you know what garage mix is? It's a light gray.
And I bet the viewers don't either, so.
So fun fact.
Yeah.
Okay, so the answer to this one is clearly creamy white. Okay, so basically this concludes our podcast, and we have a question for you at the end. So what do you rate your understanding of albinism 1 through 5? 1 being that you don't understand it all, and 5 being that you're proficient and got the majority of these questions right. We hope that your answer is closer to the 5 range, and we hope you enjoyed our podcast. So thank you guys for watching.
And to sign it off, watch out. And to summarize albinism, we talked about the genes affected, what risks come with albinism, and why you should care about albinism, and what mutations affect albinism. Then we finished it with a quick and easy quiz if you pay attention, and be ready for the next podcast on pocket mouses and how the ground around them affects them. Stay safe and stay stalker free. This is your host,
Kaya.
Riley.
and Andrew.